Okay, guys. So, as you know, Young Justice Season 4, Part 1 just ended. And despite the enjoyment that me and Scott both had, it definitely was not, we definitely weren't impressed. And again, we're not really saying it's like in the point of like super disappointment, but my issue is that a lot of the comments that I'm seeing with the season 4, which, you know, on one hand, I'm kind of happy about that people enjoyed it a lot, is that people are saying that this is somewhat better than season 3. And I can agree with the second part of season 3, which, you know, we made a review on, that we definitely fell apart. Yeah, it definitely fell apart. And I will definitely say, at least for me, that I enjoy this part of season 4 more than that second part of season 3. But I also feel like a lot of people miss the first part of season 3, because I would make a strong argument that that's very solid, and I've had a better experience with the first half of season 3 than I've had with this first half of season 4. So in this video, we're gonna basically have a strong argument why we think that this first part of season 3 is better than season 4, and why we also think you guys are, or why we think you guys are kind of undermining season 3 for part 1, because I feel like that's the most underrated thing within this community when it comes to Young Justice.
We're not like trying to say that everyone thinks that season 4 so far has been better than the first part of season 3. It's just some comments that we've noted. So it might not be you, but we're just going to explain why we personally think that the first part of season 3 is underrated, and like things that we really like about season 3 that hopefully by the end of this video you can see it, or at least see our viewpoints.
Yeah, exactly.
Start us off, Shuku. What do you think? Why is it underrated?
Why is it underrated? Let's start with the beginning, and we'll try not to be too much. We're definitely going to do some comparisons between season 4 and season 3, but we're going to try to keep it on season 3 because we've obviously made our points on season 4, and if you want to see more of our points.
Yeah, if you want to see our points, you can check out our review videos, but I will definitely be making some comparisons.
But let's start off I want to start off with the episode 1, because I feel like one thing that season 3 did was that I feel like out of all the openers, I was more intrigued by the first episode than any other season in my eyes. Not to say that every other season had an interesting episode, well, despite season 4, but like, for example, the 3 main plot points that came in for us was that, number 1, we see Black Lightning killing a meta-human who he didn't know was a human at the time. But that was like an interesting plot point of seeing that. Number 2, the disbandment of the Justice League. Like that, let alone, that's the most interesting conflict you can think of. And basically this whole meta trafficking thing going with Markovia. Like that alone, like what makes it so interesting is that we already know what's our main problem. We understand why it's a problem, and we're kind of intrigued of how they're going to go about it. Like that alone, You're already you're sucked in, you know. And
it's also a continuation of season 2, if you think about it, because some of the plot with season 2, like remember the runaway episode, basically people were kidnapped and their metagene was activated. So there's familiar themes that we see from season 2 that follow in season 3, but not to say that season 4 had to follow the same themes, but it's at least nice to get a nod to previous things that I feel were built up. And it was like a really solid 3-episode arc that started in episode 1, spanned to 2 and 3, and then had a good conclusion of, you know, them adopting Brion and Halo and eventually the rest. But for now, up to episode 3, that's what happened. And that's what I really like about season 3 a lot, is that it has really good arcs, really good structures, but still follows a main story throughout those arcs. Which is, I feel like, is a weakness of season 4. It keeps jumping around so much that it doesn't quite have a good climax for me.
Yeah, I 100% agree with it. And to even play on with that, it's the players that they show. It shows what it does a really good job with is that we feel like each player in season 3, there's a major role for the most part. The main people we're putting on screen, they have a good role. Like, for example, Halo, right? We first see Halo and we first think that she's just some meta freak that we have to help, right? But eventually, as season 3 continues going on, we realize she's the mother box. So now all her abilities come in. Now, like, we understand her role in this whole thing. And it also plays a role with Cyborg, which comes in the later half of, or at least the later half of this, 13 episodes first part.
I will admit though, Cyborg I feel was a weakness of the first half of season 3. Personally, that's what I think. They kind of shoehorned him in quite late.
Yeah.
And they didn't give him a good role for the end of part 1.
Yeah. And that's one thing. And if I have to like be blunt about season 3, like problems, the biggest problem with season 3 is that there's too many characters, and there's too many with them having too many characters. They can't really we can't really attach to the characters as much. So it's like we don't get that emotional resolve. And I will say, at least with season 4, that's where they did better, where at least them focusing on one arc per character, at least we can see their emotional resolve much better. But even with that, I feel like the fact that they did have these plot points and they're all connected, it was more engaging for me as an experience, because I'm able to be like, okay, now I see how this conflict affects this person, and how that person, whatever. So it felt very cohesive together. And to me, it was just very engaging. Like, it was just very interesting. I just feel like that alone, and the episodes itself were just super, super solid. Like, one of my favorite episodes of season 3 is the one with Beast Boy, right? And the Granny Goodness goggles. Like, that episode, which is funny because it's like in season 3, we see Beast Boy, trying to advocate, we got to help this meta trafficking stuff, yada, yada, yada. And you're just wondering, okay, why did they do this to Beast Boy? Like, what's going on with Beast Boy? And you would not have thought that he would play a major role until we get that episode. And that episode did a good job showing his backstory, because not just it was very like dark, and they showed like the horror of it, but it also was very creative in the sense where they made it kind of a joke, and they even made fun of the whole Teen Titans Go, which is an inside joke because when Young Justice got canceled, it got replaced by Teen Titans Go. So it's like there were so many things that they did in that one episode.
So many layers.
Yeah, layers within it that just, to me, it's like, whenever people just say, season 3 is horrible, I'm like, well, geez, like, to me, this is one of my favorite episodes in the series. Like, I put it in my top, 10, if anything, maybe 15, if it depends on my day.
Yeah, it was deeply emotional for the character, and it also had so many great throwbacks and so many like great moments in it. And I mean, like, for me personally, who loves like characters like Wally and getting to see them, and then who loves Teen Titans, getting to hear all their voices, it was a great episode. And also, like, it does what season 4 is trying to do, which is weird because I feel like season 4 is just repeating the thing for Beast Boy. It does that, like the whole depression thing, so much better, because I feel like Beast Boy gets an emotional resolve at the end of the episode, and it feels good, and it feels earned, and it feels like right. But then season 4 does this thing with Beast Boy where, the Superboy dies, yes, and it's probably extremely brutal for him to experience and whatnot, but I feel like compared to everything we've seen him encounter and struggle through in season 3, like with those flashbacks, it's like not even a comparison. So it feels kind of forced in season 4, while in season 3 I feel like it makes sense and it's earned, and it feels I can connect with it.
Exactly, because it's just like, it answers, number one, it answers a question that we're like, why is Beast Boy not on the team? But number 2, it shows that this is all cope, right? And I think that's the beautiful part, is when you realize that what Beast Boy doing is a cope for something more darker, and then him realizing that he can't cope for long. And I think that's what makes it even more beautiful as a lesson. But even another thing that I really loved about season 3 as well, that was kind of going on with the whole Briome and Halo, and even with Voyager, yeah, is this whole idea that Dick, Artemis, and Connor were being mentors. And what I like about that is that as much as it wasn't like a strong emotional resolve within Dick or Connor and Artemis, you can see how much they've grown. Like, for example, the parallel between Connor and Brione, where, they kind of make jokes where it's like, Connor used to be the hothead, and Connor's like, yeah, I was, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you can see the growth. Just the small things of how Connor reacts, all that stuff. And
same with Nightwing too. It's just like, how they mentioned Cadmus and how like, now we're the adults and then they're the kids that disobeyed and try to go save Tara and didn't work out. Stuff like that. It's just great parallels overall.
Yeah, very beautiful parallels. We have that. And within the journey itself, we have this idea of just Brione trying to find Tara, which the biggest twist is that, like, we didn't know Tara was, if you watch Teen Titan, was Tara, but because he said Tara, it made it sound something else. So it was just I don't know, within that whole journey, and you can argue, say the first part was its own journey, which was the whole them trying to find Tara, right? As well as dealing with the meta trafficking, as well dealing with the politics, which was another aspect I loved about season 3, was the politics of like what heroes can do, what's illegal for heroes, is heroes abiding against the laws, does that destroy their ideals? I know in the second part of season 3 they really delved into that, but I felt like that first part and the definition of why they call themselves the outsiders kind of plays with the role, because the outsiders in this first part was just, the team not going with the Justice League. Since the Justice League is disbanded, they're not allowed to do hero stuff. These people who are not part of the Justice League, the outsiders, are the ones doing the hero stuff and trying to solve these problems. So I really, I don't know. It's just, and then not to mention another favorite episode I love was the Vandal Savage backstory. Like yeah. That's another really good episode, and it introduces to the whole. Well, I think this episode was like the first episode that heavily used the stills and whatnot. That's been being played a lot now in season 4 and whatnot. But either way, I love that episode so much because you finally understand what's Vandal Savage's goal and how does Darkseid play a role. Which it brings in Darkseid, because we didn't get Darkseid at all until this episode.
I think while I watched season 4, I kind of forgot about that episode, but having rewatched season 3, before this recording, and after season 4, looking at that episode with Vandal Savage's backstory in just one episode compared to all the backstory we got in the previous episodes for season 4 during the Magic arc, exposition arc.
Oh yeah, exposition arc. That's what we call it now.
I feel like we got more out of one episode because of how it sort of had a switch between the history and also Vandal Savage protecting Earth from this threat, and also just killing Starro all over again. It just makes for a better story overall, because one of my complaints was Vandal Savage didn't really do much in the Magic arc. He kind of just talked to the Lords of Order and Chaos. I guess that's doing a lot, but to me, I didn't feel like he did much because all he did was talk. In the episode that we got in season 3, he actually went out with a sword and killed Starro. So it's it actually makes me feel something, and I feel like I'm rewarded as a viewer for that, and it makes for a better story in my opinion.
Yes, I agree. Not just that, I love the message, which is his whole ideal behind, he doesn't want to, he feels like any life is worth using for, he would rather use someone than sacrifice someone, right? So it's it kind of shows the difference between him and Darkseid. So it's I like it. It was just a good origin story of what the Light is, what's their goal, who's Vandal, what's his whole end game. And it was just, to me, I definitely would put this in my top 10 episodes for sure. And I just, again, when people, I hate to always bring it back to season 3, when people talk about how bad season 3 is, I just feel like they undermine these moments that were probably one of the best moments within the series of the show. And another thing that I have to bring up, since if we are going to talk about season 4, is that even though the quality did get a little bit, this is when the quality for Young Justice started to get a little bit lessened, it still was consistent to me. If you look at the fight scenes in season 3, they're well made still. I can look at even the first episode where you see Dick trying to saved all these kids from the meta trafficking, those little fight shots still look nice. Or even the fight between Superboy and Lobo, that episode still was it still looked pretty well nice and made, comparing to the fight scenes we see in season 4. As much as I love the Artemis arc, which is the ones that have the best fights, the quality there is still lessened than the ones we see in season 3.
Yeah, it's season 3 did it fine. It wasn't as good as season 2 and 1. 1 and 2 were great, and then season 3 was not bad, okay, good sometimes, and then season 4 is just okay at best. And then pretty bad most of the other times. That's the way I've experienced it so far. I can look, of course we probably need to rewatch season 4 to really compare, but just getting the feeling off of it from rewatching season 3, it was definitely much better in animation throughout. Like not even just fight scenes, but just everything.
Exactly. The animation, just the stories in general. To me, I think the biggest thing for me is just that I just felt like the plot points were just more, they're just more engaging. You understand, like even me not understanding who Black Lightning is, I understand why he would have a problem with killing a little girl. I understand he has a problem not joining the Justice League. I would like it made me curious about this character more. It's like you can understand the problems really well, not even knowing who the characters are. As opposed with, I felt like with season 4, with the whole magic stuff, those characters, you know, like for example, Mary, I feel like unless I knew about her backstory, you know, I wouldn't not like, for example, when one of the comments, they kind of revealed that, oh, you know, my God, I can't forget her Shazam's hero name. That character, right? Like that is like a #1 villain for Darkseid. Okay, so like for me, if I didn't know who she was, I would not be hyped that she becomes a villain. Now me understand, like, but if I did know who she is, her becoming a villain, it makes a whole big thing. So it's like, I feel like in season 3, I didn't need to know too much about these characters to be all hyped about like, oh man, I know where this is gonna go with, right? You know, so that's just what I felt.
Yeah, I mean, Black Lightning got a good arc throughout. I will admit, I didn't really care about his relationship with the Doctor.
Oh yeah, of course.
I kind of found that part boring and one of the downsides of season 3. But the character himself and like his arc of just like going through that trauma and trying to become a hero again, like even the small arcs of him getting his power back in the first 3 episodes, it felt good, you know?
Yes.
Like him just having a whole bunch of flashbacks and then like seeing somebody get killed, or I think it was Halo that died or something.
Yeah, Halo, I believe.
And then he just felt like a surge of energy and got his powers back. That was a great moment. Mm-hmm. And then other moments where, you know, he just kept shocking. That one character at the end, I can't remember her name. She's the character who said like, oh, I can go toe to toe with Wonder Woman. I can't remember her name right now.
Oh, me
dating Simon. But regardless,
yeah, like
he could just unleash all his power on her, and it was like badass, you know. Like he had great moments, and I feel like his character got earned those moments, you know. Like I feel like a lot of the characters in season 4, just the new ones at least, just kind of pop up and are somewhat forgotten afterwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another thing. Like I feel like the cameos in season 3 were done much better. You know how we got a lot of cameos in season 4, like the magic arc when all the people were helping out and saving people.
Yeah.
I almost feel like the characters weren't even really there.
Yeah.
Because they didn't get a voice role or a line or anything like that.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like anything.
Yeah.
In season 3, we got like cameos from like Flash, the voice of Wally, the Teen Titans stuff. We mentioned it before.
Yeah.
Static, Blue Beetle, Impulse. They actually had like fight scenes.
Yeah.
Batman, Katana. Like great scenes with a whole lot of characters that I just really like seeing. And the Flash and Shazam scene with them inside that, I think they were driving the villains to like some prison or something.
Yeah, that's funny because we technically got 2 Batman episodes in season 3. One where Batman, unless it is the same episode, but I remember the one where Batman's inside that island and he sees Deathstroke. So there's that episode. And then if I remember correctly, I don't know if it's the same episode, but the one where his, you see Spoiler at, Tim, Robin, and they're doing their little side mission. And that's when you realize.
I think that was a different episode.
Okay, that's a different episode. Even better. Like, the point is, those episodes, and what was so interesting about both of those episodes, especially the one with Spoiler, is that reveals that there is a side. That was the reveal that, Aqualad, Dick, and even Wonder Woman, but also Miss Martian were all together doing this secret thing, and it's like we have the secret organization kind of going on. So it's like again, there's just so many interesting plot threads that were played in this season that you're just curious. It's like a bunch of chess. How can I describe it? It's like imagine you're playing a chess match and you just have a bunch of pawns in certain situations, and you're just waiting. Okay, I can't wait for this next person to put a move, because then you're gonna have this move be played. As opposed to season 4, which, and I don't want to I don't want to hinder season 4 for this, because I will give credit to season 4 what it is, where I appreciate them trying to do something different in terms of just focus on an individual's arcs, because that is something that at least it's different, and I appreciate difference. At the same time, I just don't feel like these chess moves were going anything interesting. And like, to me, the Legion stuff was interesting, especially for the Mars arc, but to me that was the only thing interesting of the Mars arc was the Legion stuff, and we still don't know how it's going to get played. And I know they're probably saving it to part 2, but it's just, I don't know, it's just like we don't know where it's just, I like the connection that they had with season 3 better.
Here's the thing. So the way I sort of see it is, we have these individual arcs in season 4 that span episodes, like 4 episodes each, 4 to 5.
Yeah.
And they're great, but I feel like they contain a lot of fluff.
Yeah.
I feel like when you compare them to season 2 and 3, where like we have these single or 2 episodes where they focus on sort of one arc or one character, like the Flash episode or the Runaway episodes. Like, even though it was like a separate group, it was still within the main storyline and contributed to the main storyline. But at the same time, it focused on these characters enough to give them some character growth, some great character moments, and a good arc. So it's like, it does it better and it does it faster. And that's why, like, it's sort of like when you watch a YouTube video and it's like super long, and but sometimes, you know, you should probably edit it more and cut it down a bit more.
Yeah.
And then it's like shorter. So then the viewer gets a better experience. It's sort of like that, but that's the way I see it. Like, they could have made season 4, each arc probably less episodes, and then gave us more episodes to contribute to like a better main story, I suppose. But that's just one way I sort of understand, or like I'm sort of feeling out these episodes. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I totally agree, because like, again, the biggest impressions that I was left with season 3 at the end, especially obviously knowing the Judas contract and knowing the whole Tara's working for Slade, is like, I was still so like hype for what's gonna happen next, because I was just like, oh my god, there's so many plot points going on. I can't wait for this to where I can't wait to see where this is going, right? As opposed with season 4, which I am a little bit intrigued, but even I was just left more confused. Like, I was like, oh, so, you know, what happens with Zatanna? It's like, is she just, what did she did? That was kind of screwed up. Oh no, Karin's in the Phantom Zone. Okay, it's like to me, it's not as like, I'm not as like as hyped or intrigued by the way they left it ended as I was with season 3. And one point that I do want to bring up with season 3 as well is that I still feel like, and I know we probably illustrate this again, but I'm just going to repeat it, I guess, is that there's just something about the small character moments that were just, again, just more engaging for me. Like, even the scene with where we see Artemis with Halo, and they're trying to, and you see Zatanna see her father, because, you know, they have a deal where they, you know, they see, he allows her to see her every like once a year or something like that. Like, what made that moment so beautiful is not just it's like a moment for Zatanna, but it's also a moment for Halo. So it's like 2 people are killing 2 birds with 1 stone kind of thing. And that wasn't really illustrate the best in season 4. The only arc that did that somewhat decent would be the Artemis arc. But other than that, we didn't really get a moment where one character is having their moment, but that moment connects to another moment. And that's sort of something I loved about Young Justice, where they're able to like connect multiple threads where one problem is another person's problem and make it feel all cohesive. So that's something that was just lacking.
Yeah.
But
I think one major downside that sort of almost prevents season 4 so far from being like great is the fact that the original characters are just not together. Like, in season 3, we at least get some of the major original characters together. Throughout season 2, we always had the original characters together, or at least like with someone else that we grew to sort of see as a main character or a major side character or supporting character. In this one, we sort of only see, I suppose, Connor and McGann together as the main characters, and then that's pretty much it. Like, Artemis did she ever interact with any other original character?
No.
I don't think so.
No, not at all.
Yeah, same with Zatanna. Like, we didn't see her interact with...
Scratch that. Not Wally, Will. Roy Hobbart.
Will doesn't count.
I forgot. He's not in the intro. My bad. He's not in the intro, so he doesn't count.
Well, unfortunately, it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. But yeah, I agree with you on that note as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Arsenal, but like Arsenal had a great episode in season 2, but he had multiple great episodes.
Yeah,
but yeah, I suppose at least that's something that I feel I wanted to say, because like the original characters are really what makes the heart of the show for me. And not even the original characters like themselves. Sometimes like original character with a supporting character from season 2 also makes for a great episode for me. So like Blue Beetle, who was built up so much, like I feel like I want to see way more Blue Beetle. Like I want to see more Static. I want to see more like just any Impulse, you know, like all the good characters that we grew to love in season 2. I just want to see more of them. But I feel like that's also where season 3 kind of dropped the ball.
Yeah, it did.
Was they distanced themselves from the major supporting characters or even main characters in season 2. So
yeah, I'll admit with that, and that's something that I feel like it's an issue that we started to see with season 3 that came in, was this idea that, you know, who do we focus on? Like, because we want to focus on new people, but then it's like these person played such a big role. Like, how do we integrate it? And even though that was going on with season 3, and you can make an argument that at least with season 4, again, we can at least focus more on the original team members. I will still say that I'm okay. The way they present it to me, I was okay with it, because it's like, you know, like, again, Nightwing playing that role of the mentor, even if it's not giving him an emotional resolve arc, I like that this guy's playing the mentor, and then we get to see emotional resolve arc with Brion. Because I still feel like, despite that they did give us these new characters in season 3, I felt like there was enough stuff, at least for Brion, at least in this first part with Brion, that was interesting enough for me. And it didn't kill, like, it wasn't too much where it's like to the point where it's like, who's this character I don't care about? It's like, okay, this character has an importance, and he's next to another character that I enjoy a lot. So I guess you could say there's enough fan service with the older character that I was able to, like, it can give me a attention for the newer character, and then the new character went through their emotional resolve. It was well enough for the plot for me to be okay with it. As opposed with this, where we actually do get more of our characters we love, but then the story doesn't even give us the greatest emotional resolve for some of them, like Zatanna. So it's like it's I don't know, it's a bait switch kind of thing.
I don't think fan service is the right word. It shouldn't be fan service when the original characters, the main characters that are there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're right.
If anything, season 4 gave us a lot more fan service.
That's fair.
With like sprinkling in other characters that we don't really know about, and didn't really get to know that much. So that's pretty much all my points. I mean, like, by no means is season 3 part 1 like the best, or like the absolute greatest season that cannot be criticized, because there are definitely some points that we mentioned before that obviously made the season not as good as season 2 or 1. Like for me personally, I do think that it stalled a little for the Tara storyline. Like there's just a lot of episodes where they're trying to figure out where the heck she was. And sometimes like Brion would annoy me just a little bit with being super impatient. But overall, it at least has like a good story arc, you know, a good conclusion too. And yeah, that's it. Season 4 is entertaining, but it just doesn't have the spirit of Young Justice. Like for season 1 and 2, like that's my definition of the spirit of Young Justice. Like it shows us like a whole bunch of characters, does it well, intertwines all of them, like it has this like thread, a whole bunch of layers of stories that all connect at the end. That's what season 1 and 2 do. And then season 3, it does the same thing in the part 1. So to me, it still feels a lot like Young Justice. And then season 4, it didn't feel that way until Artemis sort of came back, which goes to show how much like they've really built up the character of Artemis. So and that's why I feel like it's sort of missing in the final arc with the magic arc, because they didn't really build up Zatanna's character at all.
Yeah.
And they still haven't really.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to feel super involved when all I see are characters that I don't really feel emotionally involved with.
Yeah, I agree, and I think I should bring up this one point because they did play this in season 4 that was also in season 3, where we get to see McGann's brother in that whole episode. And I'm not gonna lie, that episode was sort of a part of me felt like it was a filler, but then at the same time, because Voyager comes in and he's Forager yeah. comes in, so I think that also gives it some level of merits coming in, and we obviously get to see Static and Blue Beetle in that episode. So it was still something fun to enjoy. But
not enough Blue Beetle, Static, and Impulse.
But my thing was that at least with that episode, and it kind of hints, and you can make the argument that episode kind of got me hyped, knowing what Mars was going on, because we can see that there is this other problem and that she has a brother and then all this other stuff. But then once the Mars arc played, it just, I don't know, I would have, it almost made me wish there was more of her and her sibling if they focused more on her siblings' issues, would have been more intriguing than...
Yeah, dude, like, as much as you consider that, or want to consider that a filler episode, I feel like the Mars arc, everyone knows we're not a huge fan of the Mars arc. Like, we think it's just okay. But for that episode, I actually felt more involvement when they had the conversation, and then as kids, as their kid forms, and then, like, her brother just goes and turns into a Malefic and kills the green Martian.
Damn.
That actually felt visceral, and it felt, like, emotional. Throughout the Mars arc, I didn't feel much, to be honest with you guys. I didn't really feel that much. Yeah.
But that being said, we're gonna read comments from our last review. The first one I see, which is from Wally West 616. This episode has me polarized with Zatanna. I would say she was selfish in very similar way to Mary. Both of them were using people to get something they want, and both of them believe it was justified under a category of trying to help. But I'm happy that they gave more context to Zatanna's character. It's interesting to see how she will react and face the consequence of what happens next.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what you said in the review.
Yeah, basically. Although what happens next, we'll see. But I didn't like that.
Yeah. Well, I hope we get clarification for Zatanna's like knowledge, what she knows and what she doesn't know.
Mm-hmm. Anyways,
Zack Ryder said, I get the feeling that Rocket's arc will be used to go find Connor. Connor's out there somewhere in deep space, or maybe the Phantom Zone. That's what we're guessing, or one of the other comments also guessed. And rockets are used to transport people into space. And then IDK, I've forgotten who Rocket is. Hey, Rocket pops up in season 3, and she's helpful sometimes. All right.
Yes, that's right. We'll see. Yeah, I'm hoping we do more of Rocket, because she only had like 2 episodes in the first season. Like literally, she comes in episode 25 and then episode 26.
Hey, she's useful in season 2 when she helped contain Blue Beetle. So
yeah, she is, but unfortunately, that was her only moment. So this is one thing I'm looking forward to in season 4. Give her a good moment. Let's see. The next comment says, I believe the reason because Zatanna was probably training 3 new potential Lords of Order, which I believe the Lords of Chaos felt needed to step in.
It's definitely an interesting theory.
Yes, it is. And I would definitely agree with the theory if the episode began with Zatanna about to make them the new Helmet of Fate. And then the Helmet of Fate was about to be like, you know what? How about we separate ourselves? Or the Lords of Order basically just make a rule where it's like, all right, how about I go into 2 people? And then after that, the conflict happens. Like if the conflict happened after that, I totally would agree with that. And it would have been very understandable. But unfortunately, that's not what they gave us.
Yeah, it's a good guess. And it certainly could be true. But they didn't make it very clear. So we just have to like either forever guess or they clarify in the future. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Shane Lee Samboy said, I don't think Zatanna knew that her plan to free her father was going to cause all that. Also, I think Connor is in the Phantom Zone, and the only character who can access that place is Phantom Girl, a member of the Legion that we saw in the first arc. So maybe the Legion is still involved somehow. Okay, yeah, this was the comment that I read that gave me an inkling that maybe he's in the Phantom Zone. Maybe he is. Another comment from the same person, Shanley Samboy. Me after episode 11. So the writers are not going to adapt the Dark Mary storyline where she is recorded by Granny. And then you after episode 13. That was Granny's voice. And at the end, so the writers are going to adapt that arc from the comics. It's definitely interesting to know.
Yeah, this brings back to my point where I was mentioning earlier in this video about how, like, if I knew about that, I'd be more hyped. But me not knowing her backstory at all, I mean, I knew she was gonna like become a hero or at least go back to becoming Mary Marvel, but I didn't know it was gonna be used for Apocalypse. So, but yeah. That being said, all right, this next comment by Tivia Smoklia. I personally like this arc, but I gotta admit it was probably the weakest out of the 3 that we did get from this year. That's an interesting opinion, because we definitely agree the Mars arc was the weakest out of the 3. But
I don't know, dude. I I need to rewatch them. Obviously, the Artemis arc is my favorite, but yeah. But I need to rewatch the Mars arc to get a true sense of which one is better.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more moments that I enjoy on this arc than I enjoy the Mars arc. But who knows? Maybe you're right. Maybe I might have to rewatch it. But I'm right now. I'm definitely enjoy this, or I enjoy this arc more than the Mars for sure. And then his other comment is, my theory is Connor Kent, Superboy is trapped in the Phantom Zone, which, you know, that's what everyone's saying. Hopefully that's the case, so Phantom Girl can get him out. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'll read 2 comments at once since one of them is short. Go back to the end credits and turn the subtitles on, particularly the Mary Marvel scene. Yeah, it looks like we sort of missed that the first time with the whole like Granny talking. And then Sean Folks said, considering all the death and destruction Zatanna caused, how can she pretend to be a hero? Yeah, couldn't agree more. All right, and I'll read this last comment by G-Red. Firstly, my brother, please do not use the term woke as an insult or something that needs to worry about in terms of other people's opinions. Remember why that term came into being. No offense made, but sometimes we need a reminder of these things. As for the show, I think we all can just accept that the show isn't as good as it was, as it's lost its universal identity. Currently it's like a, what's it called, an amalgamation of things that look and sounds like Young Justice, but it's essentially in sense is slightly different. I really didn't like season 3. I thought it was terrible. I was so excited about it coming back. I went from that to not being sure about watching the season. By the way, I appreciate your breakdowns and I've been enjoying them more than some of the episodes. Thanks for that. Well, I love this comment because this is very like feedback and praise at the same time. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the word woke, yeah, we can probably find a better word that describes the idea of like preaching certain social issues in a preachy way. Yeah, you just said it. Just preachy. Just say preachy.
Yeah, preachy. Yeah, I guess that's a better word of saying it. Yeah, we feel the same way. Young Justice is definitely not the same, and I don't think. And my thing about it is like, as much as I fantasize about the good old days, I don't need it to be the good old days. I just need to take what they have and definitely just make it something, you know, interesting, make it something engaging. Like, I think that's what matters to me. Like, as much as I complain about it not having amazing fight scenes, I'm okay if the fight scenes are not that great or the animation stills are not that good either, as long as we have like a good story. So
yeah,
I think that's what it comes down to.
I definitely think that your comment, G-Red, has a good amount of what we're feeling, like in terms of, like, I do feel like it's true. The identity has like really, really gone far from where it was season 1 and 2. And in terms of it being like an amalgamation of things that look and sound like Young Justice, but its essence is different. I would say like its essence is pretty different now, not just slightly different. Like it's not the same show as it was, as we described, you know, like I described it as the spirit of Young Justice. I feel like this season doesn't have it. I suppose it doesn't always need to have the spirit of Young Justice, like do the same similar like structure and stuff like that. But like Juku said, as long as it has a good story, then it makes up for a lot of that, you know?
Yeah. The one thing I will disagree with you, especially if you do watch this review, the first part of season 3 was good. We'll just get it there. There's no. I'm not gonna go with this disclaimer that season 3 part 1. Season 3 is horrible. So I agree. I will disagree with you that the part 1 of season 3 was good. But other than that, I agree with you, and I appreciate this comment a lot. And and I think that would be it. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your comments down below. We might make another Young Justice video. So if you put your comments, we'll read it on the next one.
Once season 4 releases again, the next half, we'll review it like we did with the first half. And also let us know what your thoughts are on season 3 part 1 compared to season 4 part 1. Our opinions are very similar, so we'd like to hear from someone else that maybe just didn't like season 3 part 1 at all, or really loved season 4 part 1. Check you guys in the next one.
Peace.